Hey, back again, huh? Well, you're a glutton for punishment, huh? More of this face? You're going straight to heaven after you watch these videos. Well, I'm breaking down what I glued up the last time when I left you guys, and that was the easy piece, the long piece. Now I said to you we're going to get into the tricky part, which are these two. These are the only parts that I have to be perfect for if I do it this way. Remember I had two pieces that I cut out already? I cut them out to be a little bit longer than the entire length of this. So what's going to happen is when I cut these to the certain size that they have to be, then what I'll be able to do is use what I have left here as waste, and I could cap off the ends and then finish off the entire job. What I want to do first is to measure between these long pieces the exact length that this whole thing has to be. So when I do this, I of course don't want to make a mistake, so I'm going to just wear one pair of glasses. I'm going to take my tape measure, and I get a measurement that looks to me like about 3, and I'm going to say maybe 3 5/8. 3 5/8 looks like it's the size that it has to be. So now, when I look at this piece, remember this was a squared end, this was a squared end, because I cut both of these on that miter saw. I want this to be at least 3 5/8. How about if I make it a little bit longer, 3 3/4? But the thing you're saying to me is, hey, that thing's got to fit in perfect. Well, it kind of does and it doesn't. Let's see how it does and it doesn't. Number one, if I cut this piece short, I'm going to have a gap and I'm done, because everybody's going to notice that. Even people who are kind to me are going to say, hey, what's that gap about? So I need it to fit in perfect. So I'm going to cut it a little on the larger side, and I can actually even just mark this. I can mark this to a little bit longer than what I need. If I take that measurement, I have a feeling that measurement is pretty accurate at 3 3/4, which it is. Looks like a little heavier than 3 3/4. But I'm going to cut that one to 3 3/4. I'm going to cut this one to 3 3/4 as well. Let me mark this one as well. Now the question becomes, where am I going to cut this? Do I cut it on the table saw? Do I cut it on the chop saw? I have a jig on the table saw that would work perfect with this. Or I could be careful on the chop saw. What do you think? It's up to you guys. Let's go on the chop saw. Come on. No. I'll show you what I made. Come on. You know how sometimes you have small little pieces and it's very delicate? If you cut on the chop saw, I turn the thing on, it makes a big sound, I bring it down, boom, everything goes all over the place. How about something that's just gonna give me a little cut, no more than that, not a mess, not a big noise, not a lot of fanfare? That's what I'm after. I'll show you something as simple as a little sled. A little cut-off sled that I made when I was cutting box joints. The way this thing works is it goes right into the grooves on the table saw. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the blade up, put my piece right up against this fence. I'm going to cut it, and it's going to be the easiest thing you've ever seen. I will tell you something with woodworking. It's not necessarily about the project as much as it is what makes the project easier. And this is a little thing. It takes you a little bit of time to work on it, to build it. But this is going to make my life so much easier, because not only is it less fanfare, it's also safer. I'm going to take this piece, place this with the machined edge up against my sled. If you notice, there's a groove in this table. That saw blade's going to cut right there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim this off, and I don't need this saw blade to really even be that high. What I'm going to do is just hold on to it, and I'm going to push it across here so it cuts. How easy was that? If I'm on the chop saw and I make the cut, chances are I'm looking for this piece of waste, which I need. I need this. I can't lose it. So I'm going to leave that there. And I'm going to check to see if this is the length that it has to be. Remember, I don't want it to fit. I want it to be long. Stay right there. I'll pivot. Is it too long? Yes, yes it is. And now you're asking, oh, wise one, how is this going to work if it's too long? Come on. Here's how it's going to work. I'm going to take this piece. I have machined edge. I have a non-machined edge. Watch what he's going to do. Take the machined edge, put it up against the... Put it up against the... what's this thing called? Oh, it's a good question. It's a question that I would say, if I was using the table saw, what would you cross-cut on to make sure that you're safe and accurate on the table saw? What thing do you use to crosscut? Added attachment. Well, this can also go onto the disc sander. For many of you who know, it is the miter gauge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the machined edge, put it up against the miter gauge. This is set exactly 90 degrees. If I took this lousy edge, put it up against the miter gauge, I would be maybe sanding at an angle. I want this to be exactly 90 degrees. So check it out. Watch what I'm going to do. Turn it on, shut it off. Take my piece, put it up against here, slide it in so it makes contact a little bit. Now I'm going to check. I need this rascal to fit in. Nope, still too tight. Come on. I think it's still going to be too tight. Yep. I always wondered why old people lick their fingers, because my father used to do it all the time. I don't know if your skin dries out as you get old, but I find myself doing it more and more. Ooh, getting close. Oh, baby. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Damn. Thank you. This is exactly the way you want that sucker to fit. That fits absolutely perfect. Really well. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this in, but I'm on the proverbial roll. So I'm going to cross-cut my other piece the same exact way as I did this one. See if I can get 2 of these done. Let's see, where's my mark? Here's my mark. Let's see if I can't cut this the same way. Oh, by the way, I need this piece. So I'll keep that off to the side. Hey, has anybody seen those screws? Remember when I attached my hinges to my box? I still need 4 screws. I haven't seen them around. I might have to ask cameraman. Again, I don't have to look for anything because nothing is shot out. I hope this is too long. It is too long. See if I can do this with that sander still spinning. Machined edge, because it does matter. Up against the sander. Touch it. Come on over. No, but close. Touch it. Of course, this isn't going to work because it's always 3 times in the movies. Perhaps I spoke too soon. Perhaps I spoke too soon. Man. Come on, baby. Oh, yeah. No, that's going to work. That's it. Jackson, 2 of them. Perfect. What now? We're gluing it in. Oh, yes. But you see now the benefit of having a piece in here already. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my glue down. I don't have to worry as much with spillover because that long piece contains it from spilling over onto that little end piece. So there's my glue. Oh, I got a lot of glue on there. Thank goodness I bought this, or brought this here now. I'm going to take the excess. I'm going to put some over here. And when I do this, folks, what you notice is that I don't move my piece far from where it's got to go, because I know this piece fits perfectly here. I know the other one fits perfectly there. And I don't want to mix them up. No way. Take this bad boy, I'm going to slide them back down. You think I can get them down again? Oh boy. Now you're talking. Oh man, does that fit good? Snap. Spin this around. I'm just going to put a drop or two more glue in here. I'll take one and I'm going to slide it over with my nail. And always that machined edge has got to go down. Remember, this lousy part with the waves is not what I'm after. Man, that's good. You hear that thing squeeze in there? Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? That's perfect. Well, almost there, kids. Now, I needed these two because I'm going to get one here. And I'm going to take that piece and I'm going to put that there. One here. Take the other piece, put the other piece there. Let's see if we can't do this real quick and real easy. Because last time you said, man, that lesson took forever. Here's what I'm going to do. If I look at these, all of these or both of these ends, and this is important, were machine cut. So it doesn't matter what end I butt up against there because it's going to be exactly 90 degrees. And we know that that's probably the most important thing whenever you're doing anything with woodworking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw caution to the wind. I'm going to put a drop of glue there, and I'm going to put a drop of glue here. This is a little advanced planning. So you do something that works out, like those pieces that had to be perfect. And then all of a sudden you get cocky and you go, man, maybe I'm better than I think. Maybe I really know this stuff. So there's my glue on each one of those. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece and actually put it where it's going to go. Take this, it squeezes in there. I slide it in so it's nice and tight in there, and I fit it in. So now you're saying, all right, how about the other side? With it all together. Come on, let's take a walk. I'm going to hold this piece as best I can, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it fairly close to that edge. So here's the piece that was left over. Bad cut. Cut on the bandsaw, it's not machined. This is still my machined end right there. This is the lousy edge. This is the good edge. So good edge down, machined edge up against the fence. Check, check, check it out. I simply take that, push that in there, push it down, and that side's done. How good does that look? The next thing, we'll do the same thing on this other side. Wow, actually looking like a woodworker here, huh? And you're saying, man, he's not boring me as much. So there's my glue on that one. Here's my glue on this one. Something I didn't like here. That wood kind of fits up there a little bit. I'm not so sure I like that. I might have to make a little adjustment. Bad edge, good edge, both are squared, so I'll take this, push this up against here, squeeze it down. I'm going to clip this off at the bandsaw just like I did it before. Haste makes waste. See how God always levels you out whenever you think you're better than you are. God says, don't get cocky on me, son. Something about this, I didn't like, something sticking up there. Oh, that's better. Maybe it was just a little chip. Yeah, I think it was just a little chip. Last piece, machined edge. Which is the squared side? I can tell that was the bandsaw cut because of the burns from the bandsaw blade. So I know that that's my squared end. Take that, butt that up against there, push it down. I'm all set. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over to the bandsaw. I really kind of want to wait for that to dry a little bit. So I'm going to stall for a little bit of time. But what's kind of cool is you can see this Purple Heart goes from this surface to this edge. It's going to wrap around the whole thing. So it's going to look like this piece was individually cut, this one, this one, this one, and they were all glued together individually. So that's going to look cool. So I'm going to wait for this to dry. Maybe I'll put a clamp on this. These other ends look really good. This is the one I was a little concerned about. Let me just put a little deep throw clamp on here just to snug it down. And the question that I have for you with this, whenever we're gluing a piece that is flat on one surface, lousy on the other surface, the piece that always goes down should be the flat side, so you have flat on flat with the glue there. When it comes to gluing up any boards, like I said, here's my lousy side, which I don't like. Here's my good side, which I wanted to highlight. That's going to look like that'll really stand out nice when this thing gets trimmed up. Let's go back to the box. This weekend I was in here and I got a chance to polyurethane the box. So if you look, when I left you the last time with the box, we put the hinges on. And the other thing that I wanted to tell you is when you put these hinges on, if you do it the way I did it, because I wanted to show you this when I did, you could take these hinges back off and then you could polyurethane the rest of the box. Because remember, we didn't do anything to the outside of this. We sanded it up, but when we put these hinges on, we hadn't put a finish on this. If you want, you could either take these off or just be careful when you're taking your brush, you cut your brush in and then you're all set. So now this is all finished. If you look at my inside, the oak finish on here looks cool. The surface looks nice. This is all set, ready to go for waxing. When I wax this, which I'm going to do right now, that'll be the last thing I have to do to the body of the box before I attach the top. So if you guys have any questions about this, let me know. Now, our final thing that we want to talk to you today about is the bandsaw. I was making some cuts on the bandsaw. And my question to you is a cut on the bandsaw a squared cut? Is a cut on the bandsaw a squared cut? And the correct answer to that is no, it's not. And the thing that you know, or the reason why you know it's not a squared cut, is there's no fence on this bandsaw. There's a groove for the miter gauge, and that's more of a safety thing than anything else. But when you look at the bandsaw is never used for cutting things square. It's used for cutting irregular shapes. It's used for cutting patterns. Remember, when we cut any kind of shape or a pattern, it's always done on the bandsaw. You always want to make sure that your square cuts are done either on the table saw or the miter saw or the jointer. Anything that has a fence is telling you it's supposed to be square. Last thing with this guy, I'm going to wax it. Come on, quick refresher. I finished up my last coat. My wax, steel wool, pop up, pop up. And as we always say, little bit of wax A lot of rubbing. So once this is done, and I'm going to do this to all 4 sides, the very next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to surface cut those pieces that I attached to my top. I'll surface cut those, and then we'll route the top, sand the top, polyurethane the top, wax the top, and then finally attach the top, and I'll have my finished completed box. Next project, anybody have any ideas? I really want to show you guys how to make that footstool, but in my heart of hearts, since everybody has done it this year already, I don't want to take the time to do it. So I think I'm going to show you a real quick, easy project that you could probably make at home inexpensively, and it would fit beautifully in your mom's garden. Oh yeah, maybe a little garden bench. We'll do that the next time I see you guys. Up until then, anybody want to give me a hand waxing this thing? No? You guys have a great day. We'll see you maybe to finish up that top. Have a good one.